Out of back.
No,
I don't like it.
We had to change that for I did a movie heckle show, and originally those were the type of stools without the back, and I was like, we can't.
It's weird that we've got a bunch of comedians here gathered talking about their distaste for stools. Normally comedians have a passionate love for stools.
Yeah, they love them so much they fuck them
Yeah.
usually.
That's one of the things you need for a comedy show is a stool. It's one of the three things: a light, a microphone, stool.
Small table you could have instead of the stool.
What are you performing at the Comedy Cellar?
Yeah,
They don't have a stool at the Comedy Cellar.
They don't have a stool?
The #1 club in the country doesn't have a stool.
Too much humping. They had to get rid of it. They had to retire it. It is weird. That's the thing we know about stool. Like, that is the thing they've become known for in the comedy world. It's like, trust me, if someone's gonna fuck something, it's gonna be that stool.
Welcome to the Bottle episode.
Speaking of pieces of shit, welcome to Bottle Episodes. I'm David Piccolomini.
I'm Daniel Crow. We're joined by our guest.
Joe Russell?
Are you
just
sure?
said it like a question.
It's not my real last name.
Oh, fair. Okay.
Gotta think about it.
We're here with a fugitive on the run from the law, Joe Russell.
You've been doing comedy for a long enough time. You shouldn't be questioning which name we want.
Do you want the one on my driver's license?
Sure, we'll dox you. It's fine.
Bleep it out.
You didn't say it. I'll just
put
bleep
a
here
bleep-
anyway.
put a bleep
Yeah,
in
that's
here,
fair.
yeah.
Okay, good.
I've been going by Russell longer than my real last name because I started doing magic when I was like 10 years old, and so I started using that stage name at like 13 or 14. So I've been
To
going by
distance
that
yourself
longer.
from your magic act, so your family wouldn't be embarrassed by your magic act.
My parents would rather me do magic than comedy for sure. They've seen my comedy act. One time they saw me bomb, and they're like, "You ever think about incorporating a few card tricks?"
Listen, even if the jokes are funny, you'll really wow them.
I like to imagine they do that for any job you had. If you're just an accountant, they'd be like, maybe put some card tricks in there.
Okay, so the show we picked today is Family Dog.
Holy shit. What the fuck was that? There's no redeeming character in that whole fucking episode. I hated everybody.
No, it's insane how. So the basic concept is twisted adventures of the Binsford family dog, which was apparently there's an Amazing Stories episode.
That's based off of, yeah.
Yeah. And
But,
then...
yeah,
Oh, good.
I think we need to say the creative team behind this, though.
Yeah, that is really...
Okay.
Executive producer Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Executive producer Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Created by Brad Bird.
Right.
All episodes directed by Chris Buck.
Who's Chris Buck?
Oh, maybe you've seen some of his films like Tarzan and Frozen. Yeah. Same thing with if Brad Bird doesn't ring a bell. Maybe you've seen Ratatouille or The Incredibles or The Iron Giant.
Yeah, like one of the huge pillars of Pixar.
I will say right now, in fairness to Brad Bird, he is merely credited as the creator. He had no involvement. He didn't think it should be made into a show. He made the episode of Amazing Stories it was based off of. And, very early in his career had the guts to say to Tim Burton and Steven Spielberg, no.
No, this is going to be bad.
But like, all right, Spielberg and Burton executive produced it, but I've worked on TV shows where the executive producer doesn't do shit. They like maybe watch the episode and maybe give it like, yeah, that's good. So maybe they didn't really have anything to do with it.
I'll say Burton must have had some involvement.
I mean, everything was his animation.
It looks like Burton's style. Danny Elfman does the theme.
Well, I was watching the intro when I first turned on the episode, and I was like, oh, this sounds like Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, this will actually. There's one more that we had not. The creator of the Larry Sanders Show and the main developer of the Cosby Show, Dennis Klein, was also
a
involved.
producer.
He
My
was,
God.
No, he wasn't just a producer. I'm pretty sure he was a writer on it.
Jeez.
Well, you see, I want you
It's
to write on my
The
show.
amount of stacked. Yeah, he was a series writer on it. And the amount of stacked this show was.
I will also argue that Spielberg was also probably pretty involved because he was heavy into animation at the time. Oh, you're also on Paul Dini was involved?
Paul Dini was
He
a
was
writer.
Batman the Animated Series was like his thing.
Yeah, he was the
Oh my
creator
God.
of Batman Beyond. Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
Everybody on the show was like a writer for the Animaniacs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Spielberg was doing Animaniacs, Tiny Toons at the time. Like
So
he was big into animation.
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond.
I
Batman
prefer
the Animated-
Impossible Batman. It's my favorite plant-based Batman.
All right, you putting that in your act? Because you should.
For the Batman Beyond heads in the crowd.
Yeah, you're right. There are 0 Batman fans out
No,
there.
there were plenty of Batman Beyond. Is gonna be, did you guys hear about the show Batman Beyond? Yeah. Just asking people, trying to make that a natural segue.
Felt super 90s.
Yeah,
It
Family
had a
Guy-
Rugrats feel to it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like it's The Simpsons. It's that edgy animations coming to it's.
Well, that's exactly why I think they made Family Dog specifically into a cartoon. Because Brad Bird was, at the time, a producer on The Simpsons.
Oh,
Like I think he's said that he's made more money off The Simpsons than any of his films.
wow, yeah, just being a producer for
Well,
some
yeah,
time,
like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to bet they were like, okay, well, this guy's involved with The Simpsons. We want to make our Simpsons. Let's just turn his short into a show. At which point Brad Bird was like, no, I'm working on The Simpsons. I'm not going to go do this thing.
And then they took everything about the show that would make it fun. Let's get into
Yeah.
what the show is, because we haven't
Well,
actually.
it was an attempt to make The Simpsons without understanding why people like The Simpsons. They thought people like The Simpsons because you hate everyone. That's all they took from The Simpsons. Like, everyone is mean.
That's literally everyone is so mean to everyone else on the show. Everyone, like the mom is like some of the most
Pretty
harpy-
hot, though. Let's be honest. She's got a fucking dump truck ass.
There is a comment on the second episode. I think there's only one comment.
Yeah.
And on the second episode on YouTube, and it's like, would have liked to watch the mom wiggle into the doghouse. That's like the only comment on the episode on YouTube.
She looks like a sexier version of Blondie.
Well, it's honestly, it's probably we're seeing the early influences of the Pixar dump truck mom style,
Oh.
which is a real
Because it would have had the character design from Brad
Bird.
Bird. And Brad Bird does the
makes dump truck-
Incredibles.
Yes, he makes.
Which is where I think people get that Pixar stereotype from.
It's one of but there's a lot of the Pixar dump truck.
Oh,
as-
yeah.
as like
Yeah,
a
for
weird
sure.
thing that people have talked about.
I have
it's
to
like
roll
those-
back. Did you call Debbie Harry Blondie a minute ago?
No,
When you said Blondie?
The cartoon.
He
Oh,
said
the
Blondie.
cartoon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Blondie's sexy as fuck.
this is also she was played by Molly Cheek, who
Wow, what a name for what you were just describing her as.
She was Jim's mom in American Pie. I was like,
There's got to be an Incredibles Pornhub video, right? That someone they already
Based off Family Dog, a one-season bomb from the early 90s.
Rule 34.
I was reading the comments too, and there apparently it was a video game.
There was a Family Dog video game?
It was good enough where they made a video game for Nintendo.
Well, I don't think it was good enough. I think they expected this to be a huge hit, so they probably
Yeah.
just made a bunch of merch.
A lot of people commented like, "Oh, I never seen the show, but I had the game," which is crazy.
Why? I guess
don't
no
know.
one saw the show, in
No.
fairness.
Yeah, so it's that thing of this was supposed to come out in 91. There's a period from like 89 to like 93, 94 where TV is just like, they're like, we're trying to do Rude. Because like Married with Children had worked and The
Yeah.
Simpsons were on the air, and suddenly everybody was just trying to copycat that.
Yeah.
And then you realize that like most people trying to do Rude are just sociopaths.
Yeah, this isn't rude. This is abusive.
Yeah.
This is a cartoon about a family that neglects and abuses a dog.
For the record, abuse is rude. I do.
Okay, yeah. I shouldn't.
Married with Children, though, those people were endearing. Like people, they were lovable.
But that's they didn't
They
do that.
missed it all.
It's also like Martin Mull. Martin Mull just plays an asshole anywhere.
Sure.
No, one time I saw Martin Mull at a rest stop, and he was not being mean to anybody. He was just, going about his business.
Okay.
There's
you're
a
right.
weird story about that because I was in the car. I didn't need to do anything in the rest stop, and my sister and dad went inside, and then they came out, and Martin Mull walked by the car, and then they came out, and they're like, "Did you see?" And I was like, "Yeah, pretty cool." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" It turns out there had been like some terrorist attack in the Middle East, and they saw it on the TV in there. And I was talking about Martin Mull. I had seen Martin Mull, and they had seen on the TV about this terrorist attack, and I was like, "Pretty cool."
Yeah.
He was on Roseanne.
Smaller than I thought it would be. So yeah, this dog is owned by the family. The dog is constantly hungry and thirsty, and no one's taking care of it. The mom is preoccupied by kind of like a victimization thing. She's beleaguered, I would say, is the.
She's had it.
She's right to have had it. Those kids are terrible.
No, they're awful. Yeah, no, but it's that thing. She picks up the dog. She's like, oh, always doing everything for everybody.
Yeah, a dog can't do anything for itself.
Yeah, that was the weird. I was like, why are you being shitty to this dog about cleaning?
I like how I felt like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this whole episode's gonna be about this one thing, this dog getting a drink, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
I expected it to be segments.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like Tom and Jerry or something.
Oh, they could have wrapped that up in 5 minutes.
2 stories in one episode or something.
Yeah, two 12-minute episodes.
Yeah.
That's what Rugrats did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the whole time he wanted water.
It made me thirsty.
For 20, yeah.
Who else stopped and went and got a drink of water?
I would like to note, as soon as Joe walked in here to record, he said, "Do you have any water?"
But you guys didn't give it to me.
He had family dog on the mind.
You're right, I did ask.
So it's really, it's just a whole episode of him just the dog just trying to get water in a variety of ways. They do add a second plot, though.
But it's just a continuation of the first one.
No, they tie them together. I would say it's a different plot.
But the dog is still looking for water.
The dog, no, they tied them together. It's an A story, a B story, they tied together.
Yeah.
There are really talented people working on this. They just made a thing that didn't work.
It's too much talent.
Honestly,
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
It might be.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times we do these episodes, and there are incredibly talented people who would go on to make absolute classics throughout.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. I think it's a testament to the difficulty of making any creative endeavor, but this is definitely the most stacked list of creatives we've seen.
You know what I felt too? I feel like there's a lot of dialogue coming from off screen.
Yeah.
Like they got the first cut done and this isn't funny enough. We need to jam some shit in here somehow without redoing the animation.
But they didn't jam jokes in. They just jammed in "Will you turn down that racket?"
Yeah.
That was all the jokes.
And I don't know, maybe this was the first time people heard it back in the 90s, but it was a lot of stereotypical lines oh, better in than out, or
just whatever they could yell in the moment.
I kind of felt like they were just picking up arguments in the recording booth and putting them in the show.
So then there's there's a dog show happening.
Yeah.
That they're excited about, or that the kids are excited about, or the dad's excited about. The dad won second place.
Here's the thing: there are numerous escapades of him attempting to get water before that.
Yeah. Oh, do we want to go through all the escapades of water?
Well, at one point the dog ends up in a bra, so I feel like we skipped over that.
Oh, I forgot that wasn't part of the rest. I thought that was part of the makeup.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed it wasn't 3 bras to cover all 6 nipples.
Well, this is a guy dog.
Do we know? Do we know for sure? His name's Jonah. I looked that up.
Wow.
The dog's name is Jonah.
You've done more research than we have.
Yeah, I didn't. I just figured he went unnamed.
Yeah,
Jonah and the Fail.
No, he's literally credited as family dog.
That's so rude to him.
But just a voice actor who's still killing it.
Who is it?
It's Danny Mann. He was in Sing 2.
Finally, Danny Boy grew up.
It's just Danny Elfman without the elf.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is kind of what he looks like. We took away all the whimsy from Danny Elfman. Honestly, okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
God. Man, he just looks like Los Angeles.
I do love you just take out Danny Elfman. You take out the elf.
How much did they pay Danny Man to go, "Oh," every couple minutes?
Oh, no. Dude's a pro. He was in Babe. And
Oh,
like,
I don't doubt that he's a pro, but like, there's not a lot of the dog just has to sound sad over and over because things keep going terribly for him. Oh,
Yeah, the dog constantly. Wait, how did he end up in the bra? I do remember that because I was like, dog with a bra.
because at one point the little girl just wanted to make the dog pretty.
Oh, I thought it was for the dog show.
Well, she was watching the dog show on TV.
Oh, right, because the dog's trying to drink out of the toilet.
Yeah.
Because the kid just shit in the toilet and flushed.
Right. The very likable Chucky
Yeah.
No, like
Child's Play
They
kid.
had seen Bart Simpson. They're like, what people like about Bart is that he's the worst. So make a kid that's even worse than Bart.
Yeah, it's nice to know what Sid from Toy Story was doing before this.
Yeah, that's actually a good comparison.
That is exactly what that kid is. He's psychotic.
And his face is shocking. Like, he doesn't match the rest of the cartoon at all.
He has a face that implies a trench coat.
He's a kid that, like, you could picture this kid that he actually exists. Like, he's a kid that you'd want to, like, drown in a bathtub.
How
Did I go too far?
I don't know what that. I
I
don't
think
know
you
what
went
that
not
means.
far enough.
By the way, that kid only worked in this show.
Yeah, he's probably related to someone on production.
The voices were so generic, too. Like, The Simpsons, you have Homer's voice.
Yeah.
Like, it's all fun and unique. And then this, it sounds like they got it off, like, a commercial voiceovers.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also partially like even how it seems like the recording itself doesn't sound great. But like I don't know, well that also might be that we're getting it off of like weird VHS. But like Martin Mull is a pretty distinctive voice, but he's also a very like neutral voice.
He probably recorded in his Greenwich Village rent-controlled apartment.
Yeah, that's the thing. Martin Mull is an actor. He's not a voice actor.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
There is a pretty big
They got
difference.
voice actors for The Simpsons.
Yeah,
That may have been an objection of Brad Bird's. I don't know how involved he was in the production before he was like, I'm not doing that. But he's a guy who loves animation. He may have been like, no, why are you putting actors in this instead of voice actors?
So you think he had final say?
He obviously didn't have final say because Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton were involved.
So you don't think the bird was the word? Thank you. This has been
They're like little traps you set up.
Yeah.
That like where you think we're having a conversation, but it's actually just a pit we're about to walk into. We don't feel better afterwards.
just like watching Family Dog.
It's certainly improving the podcast, but I'm a little mad. I wish I hadn't given you water. Now I know how the family and family dog feels.
So then the second
They are mad when he wants something every time.
Yeah, they are. Every time he has any need, they're like, "Why another?" So then the second episode is
What? We didn't even
or not
really
the second
finish
episode,
the.
second half of the first episode. 'Cause
Yeah.
They do kind of do it. They honestly, if it works, they're kind of doing the Simpson thing. And the Simpson thing starts with a different story, and then all of a sudden the second half of the episode is all just like they're like in
Right.
No, but it's a
Japan.
wildly different story. They don't really
Right.
continue over the first one.
This one, yeah, but it feels almost like two separate episodes, except for he wants water still.
Yeah.
Like, but it's a completely different. It's two different. It's only two settings, really.
How many seasons can you really do about a family dog that doesn't talk? Like, how many things does a dog need? Food, water. That's about it. And
How many more needs are they gonna have? Well, buddy, we'll get to all the needs. You saw some of the needs.
I am shocked. Like, how many things can you do with a dog? Do you know how many Air Bud movies there are?
Yeah, no. The thing is about it is everybody hates everybody on the show.
I think the son only ever says "stupid dog." It's like every line of his.
Also, so they go to the dog show to enter this dog. Who the dog is? Honestly, this show is a little better if you look at it like an origin story for Courage the Cowardly Dog.
You know how you can just sign up for a dog show the day of and bring your dog?
You skipped one thing, though. They end up entering the dog show out of spite.
Oh, yeah, because neighbors are.
Because they've got these perfect neighbors with a perfect dog that the dad and mom hate. Like, the whole family just calls these people buttheads. And they're the nicest people in the show.
Yeah, they are the people who are just having a successful life,
Yeah.
rubbing it in on the people they don't
Who
like.
care for their dog.
Yeah.
And that's
it
why
works.
they're the worst.
So that they're at the dog show. Did anybody notice how like German Nazi the judge was coded?
No?
Yeah,
He
he's
was
a
like-
Nazi for sure.
Yeah, he was like a weird judge. He's like, oh, he's doing the German thing, and everything's very strict.
He had a riding crop.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird. I wrote this down. I don't know what it means, but touches his balls.
No, he touches his butt.
His butthole.
There's a point where they're giving the dog a bath earlier in the episode where he's going to try to drink from the bath.
That's what we call foreshadowing.
It gets soap in it before he can drink it, so he doesn't drink it.
Yeah.
And the mom tries to wash his butt, and he doesn't like it. So then later when he's getting inspected by this guy, the guy tries to inspect his butt and he attacks him, and then all hell breaks loose during the dog show.
That's the one thing that's the only thing I know about that dog, really, is that he doesn't like his butt touched.
It is a good message for kids. Don't let strangers touch your butt.
Yeah. This is not a show for children.
What are you talking about? It's animated. It must be for children. It's about a dog. I'm willing to bet a lot of people watched this with their family and were horrified.
Yeah.
Because the reviews for this were horrendous at the time, and they're still correct. They are horrendous. But if you look up like the quotes that they have on Wikipedia in the reception section, it's like, the most vile thing I've ever seen. 0 redeeming characters.
When I looked at the comments on the very
that's
first
true.
episode,
Yeah.
it was all nostalgic. Like, oh, I remember this. Oh, this unlocked something in my brain. I can't believe this exists still. Thank you for... Like, people were happy to see it.
You know what unlocked in their brain? Memories of abuse.
I think back in the 90s, you were allowed to just, like, not give your dog water for a while. Now it's too much water for dogs. Now... the laundromat will put a bowl of water out for your dog. That's too much hydration.
Dogs are hydrating everywhere now.
I've long been saying they've had it too good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're taking a stand.
This show, it seems like it's kind of in that same vein of like when they're like, oh, you want to see real America? This is real. Like, this is unfiltered. Like, it's kind of like it's a much worse version of what Lucky Louie was trying to do.
They wanted to be like, this is a dystopian family in America. This is our capitalism.
Living in their suburb with a backyard. What a dystopia.
This is right before we refined it into like Pulp Fiction and Fight Club and all the other like anti.
Yeah, I guess this is a proto-American Beauty in many ways.
Everybody hates each other. Nobody's happy. It's not working.
This is the hardest anyone's ever dissected this shitty show.
No, because
it's a metaphor
No,
for
American Beauty was from DreamWorks, which was started by Steven Spielberg. So he carried over a lot of the ideas from Family Dog into American Beauty.
Oh, man.
100%.
And then they're like, and now the results after this dog is like attacked us. So they're like,
I actually thought for a second he could win. Like maybe like
maybe he wins, and that's
Joe,
like,
I think if he was a generally bright person, why on earth did you think that?
I was like, there needs to be something that happens in the show.
and they do all the places. It's really they go for the anti. I actually did like this piece as anti-comedy. They're like runner up, this other dog, first place, the dog you expected to win. But now there's a secret award for being like a great sport and really showing a lot.
Right,
as a
that's what I
newcomer.
thought. Oh, this is coming.
And I was like, oh, they're going to do this, I guess? And then they did do that. I was like, oh, all right, you got me. They're like, that belongs to a better dog. Obviously, this dog is shitty. It deserves nothing.
You know what would have been a better ending for that show is if that dog inspector guy inspected it and was like, this dog is clearly dehydrated, and they call the SPCA. They
Family loses a dog.
on the first episode.
Honestly, I like that as a premise, and the rest of the premise is this family now has to get their shit together and become a better family. We're pitching, I guess, how to make the show better.
I like it better if they just stay abusive and neglectful the whole time. I think that's more fun.
And they don't grow, and then we're just
Yeah.
doing It's Always Sunny then.
Yeah, we are.
All right, that's fine.
I saw a comment on the first episode that said, wow, they really made the family super mean on this pilot episode. So that leads me to believe they got nicer as the season went on.
No.
But we watched the next episode, and they were just as bad.
It's so weird to me because the main creative force seemed to be Tim Burton
Yeah.
over the whole show. And he's made great comedies. He didn't write them,
Yeah.
but he's made great comedies. And if he was the one trying to like set the tone for this whole thing, I think Tim Burton might not be funny. I think he may have accidentally made a handful of really great comedies over the year.
Just like
Just by happenstance.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at a lot of his work now that he's like kind of given a pretty much full creative control of it. They're not funny, really. Like Wednesday wasn't funny. I
Yeah.
mean, it was kind of like I get why, but it wasn't like a particularly like hilarious show.
But this was being made like at his peak.
yeah,
I don't. How did he make all of those great things?
Maybe he was just stretched a little thin, you know? He had a lot of stuff going on. They're like, this guy's the hottest guy in Hollywood right now.
it probably yeah.
He just made Batman. Let's give him it.
It's just it's funny because there are probably times where people are like, you know what, it's not going to be the best thing out there, but it's not going to be the worst. We'll just put it out. It'll be good.
But who else would have been like pushing to be like, make the family abusive. It'll be funny. He's the only one that feasibly could have been pushing for that. And everyone else would have been like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And he would have been like, yeah.
Yeah.
But why would he do that?
God, just tonally, it's so all over the place. And that's the thing. So at the end of the episode, he hasn't won, and then how does he
has to
gets
pee
water.
at the end.
No, but he has to get water. He gets water.
No, they roll out the prize for the winner, and it's a big gold chalice with a nice sculpture of a dog in it.
Oh yeah.
And he attacks it and starts licking it, and then it melts and into the chalice, and he drinks out of that bowl.
He drinks the whole bowl of it.
Drinks the whole bowl.
So then he's full of water. Mission accomplished. They're headed back. Now he has to pee.
And
He
they're
doesn't
mad.
pee though. Which I was, come on. I was like, this show's got to end with him peeing in the car.
Yeah. Why? Go
They didn't
for
go
it.
there.
Why
They
are
didn't go-
you?
There's
yeah.
definitely another version probably where they.
Because they wanted to imagine you yourself peeing in that car. They wanted to let you, the viewer, have that experience over that terrible family.
Oh.
Because they're mad at him that he has to pee.
They're mad at him that he has to pee. They're mad at him the whole time. They come over when he loses or whatever, and they're like, "Aw, buddy, we love you." And then they flip again. They get
Yeah.
mad at him again, like immediately for some other dumb thing. Also, you find out that the dad got second place out of 2 people at a dog show.
When he was a kid, yeah.
Yeah, when he was a kid, because he kept bragging, "We got second place," and now we didn't even get that.
There's a lot of weird flips on this show where it just like it changes on a dime, and now we're set in this direction, like very untastily done.
Yeah.
Tastefully.
I think it's that.
There's a good example of that in the next one, the next episode.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of not tasteful.
Hey guys, if you want to support the show, you can follow us on Instagram at MeDPIC Comedy, and Daniel Crow is at Daniel F. Crow, and then Joe is at Jokes Russell. So you can follow us all there. Also, check out Joe's show, The Cheese Show, on YouTube. That'll be linked there. And then also I have my stuff, Goblin King Comedy Special on YouTube, Lit Grandma 69 on TikTok, and I'm doing another edition of Christian Science Theater 3000. It was super fun the first time, so we're watching bad Christian movies. This month we're doing Christian Mingle. I think it's going to be the first week in October at Star Bar in Brooklyn, so check that out. Okay, I think that's everything. Back to truly one of the worst shows we've watched for this podcast.
I didn't know what the episode was called. I just got the YouTube links from you guys, so I didn't know that it was gonna just be called
Family Dog Goes Homeless. If you think abusive and neglectful pet owners are funny, just wait, because we've got jokes about the most vulnerable among us. Jesus Christ.
It is.
Every now and then we see a show where this is the highest rated episode of Family Dog is Family Dog Goes Homeless.
This is the one they were like.
Fans think this is the best episode, and every now and then we get one where like there is a noticeable improvement. Every now and then we just get lateral moves where it's pretty much the same show.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was possible for this show to get more tasteless, and it did.
It managed to
Yeah.
against all odds.
I guess that is the thing. I guess the people that like Family Dog like it for being tasteless. So when
Yeah.
it reached its peak tasteless,
Technically, the highest rated episode is Show Dog
the pilot, yeah.
at 7.7. The first episode, but yeah, this by the way is only coming in at a 6.8. So people who love the show were like, "This is still a lot."
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, it has him written as the writer. He's
It has
credited.
Brad Bird credited
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
writer. Because I think he's just credited as writer on all of them for creating.
Yeah.
'Cause
No one
I didn't
wanted-
see a credited writer on any of the episodes. I just saw like additional material.
No, it was the one guy from fucking Larry Sanders Show. He was
Okay.
one of the writers. Anyway, and the other guy that we were looking at. But so this one, Family Dog Goes Homeless. A homeless woman just sneaks into the backyard.
Lives there for weeks and the family doesn't notice. She's just living in their backyard.
Which shows you how much they are not checking on their dog.
yeah.
No, they're
They're like,
not-
something's going on out there, and we don't know. I think he's probably got water, maybe not.
She's loud though. She's in their backyard just screaming, "You brought me food!" Like for 20 minutes of this episode.
This is someone who has been in a backyard when people didn't know. People are aware pretty quickly when it happens.
Okay, when were you in a backyard when people were not aware?
Oh, there was a party, and then I fell asleep at the party at the backyard.
Oh.
There's nothing in their yard though to even.
No,
No.
there's a doghouse.
That's it.
No, she stays with the dog. No, she sets up a tent next to the dog house.
Oh, she goes into the
She goes in
doghouse.
the
Oh, she goes to the
doghouse.
doghouse?
That's what the person was commenting because they listed the time frame when she crawled into the doghouse, and the comment was like, "Would have liked to see the mom crawl into the doghouse instead." Because I saw the comment first, I was like, "Okay, someone's gonna crawl into the doghouse," but I wasn't sure who. I should have figured it out though. So
it's a bag lady. It's like a homeless lady, a la Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah.
Like that lady.
this is, I think, a year before.
Maybe someone stole that idea.
Oh,
got-
so Spielberg.
I
He's
think
got
it's-
connections. You never know.
I think it's also just in the archetype at that point of like at the time the gypsy, like that kind of like creating that like aesthetic around homeless people.
Yeah.
It's a weird character.
Oh
thing.
yeah, hobo wasn't sad back then. Like my dad said, his Halloween costume growing up was always a hobo. Like
Always.
they would dress him up in like old big clothes, didn't fit him, and they'd take. He said this. He would take a wine cork and they'd burn the end of it and they'd put it on his face so like he was make him look
Sut.
dirty.
Oh,
That's called blackface.
Yeah, I didn't want to say that to him, but it was not done very well. He was a hobo like every year for Halloween, so it was just fun.
now we just call him a Bindle Boys.
Hobos were fun. You just ride on the back of trains with your stick and your handkerchief.
Does hobo stand for Homeward Bound?
It stands for, oh boy,
All right.
things are going rough.
Woof. Much like Homeward Bound. Okay. Anyway, homeless dog.
But so what happens is the dog at the start of this episode is hungry
Yes.
because I guess all the episodes start off with him hungry or thirsty because, you know, he's being neglected.
Actively.
Hilarious.
Like,
And so he
you love dogs so much. Like you're very close with dogs. And like care. Was this
and
like
dogs love me.
Was it very hard to watch?
Kinda,
Like,
yeah. I felt bad.
It is. Yeah. It's really. You're just like, why do I want to watch this family be mean to a dog for an hour?
People write what they know, so I feel like someone on the writing team was like, "Yeah, I've starved my dog before." I remember that one day. Remember when we forgot to give water to Spot? It was
Oh,
We
really
should make a
funny.
whole episode about it.
Remember that time a homeless person lived in my backyard for months and I didn't notice?
So the dog starts. The dog.
Well, no, the dog knocks over a trash can because he's starving. And then the homeless lady is on the other side of the fence being like, "Ooh, lucky dog. Lucky dog with the trash.
You got.
Give me some of that, dog."
You got a chicken leg.
Yeah. And she guilts the hungry dog into giving her the trash food.
and gets the dog to start taking it out of the refrigerator and bringing it to her.
Yeah, which I guess was always an option for him, but he was starving.
That dog brought her a raw steak and she ate it.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I did notice that she just ate a straight raw steak. I love the idea that the dog just has such terrible self-esteem issues that it can do all the things it needs to do to survive regularly on its own, but it doesn't believe in itself. It needs someone else to be there to be like, go grab it out of the fridge. It's like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Now, one would think this would just be to set up their relationship for the episode.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, it is a third of the episode is just him bringing her food.
Yeah.
Like,
But in return, though, she gives him love and attention. So it's like, scratch my back, I'll scratch your
yeah,
back.
but it ends
You've discovered-
tragically.
It doesn't.
You've-
Again, it flips on a fucking dime.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You've just discovered, though, a human's relationship with a dog. You give it food, it gives you love and attention.
Yeah. No, it was happening
He's
the other
doing
way.
it reverse.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's a
Uh-oh.
little smarter than we thought.
So
Yeah, it's a very good show all of a sudden. But
so,
no, it
so
is
the
so-
woman,
but it
she's
is-
his pet.
It is so boring when you're just watching him bring her food. Like, it's so bad. That's why it should have been 2 different things per episode, because they don't have what's needed for a full episode on either of the ones we watched.
And imagine how boring it was before they added all the off-screen dialogue.
Yeah.
There's parts where their mouth did not match up with what they were saying. So I feel like they changed a lot of shit later on.
Possible.
Who was the voice of the homeless woman? Because it sounded very familiar.
It did.
It's Meryl Streep.
Hold on, I'll look to see if I can find, because I tried to find it earlier and it's not on the IMDb or it's not like really anywhere.
Oh, it's a mystery woman.
But she does sound like it's not. It's not Carol Kane, but it's in that same kind of like raspy, like, come on, you
Yeah.
know you love me, New York.
Was
Yeah.
it the mom from My Mother the Car?
No, she's much more sensual.
Yeah. So then she says to the dog, like, you want to come on the road with me?
Yeah.
You want to ditch your family?
Yeah.
And the dog decides, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Does it pretty quickly too.
Yeah. He doesn't even think about it, which, understandable. The family's been awful to him. So then she takes him
To what's clearly New York City.
Yeah, which is apparently walking distance from their suburb.
Yeah, they're just in Westchester,
Yeah.
like slightly north of the city.
Yeah. And
Pretty accurate, New York City.
yeah, he's scared because it's loud. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And she, within 5 minutes of going to the city. By the way, who is this homeless person hanging out in the suburbs?
Yeah, what is she like?
Where
Just,
did like, that's an option? Well, it feels like more would be doing that.
She did explain that she was on the Ed Sullivan show.
oh yeah, she was a juggler.
Oh, I think she was probably lying.
You think so? I think the guy at the end was her juggling partner.
Maybe.
I mean, it's a thing where it could go either way with like, it's really a whatever the opposite of a testament is to the episode. It's a detriment to the episode where it's like you're supposed to tell us, is she lying or not? You're supposed to give us more clues so we can put that together.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I get she's homeless, but there are homeless people that were successful.
Yeah.
And it seems like it could have been going either way, but it doesn't really land on either side of it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah. But so she goes back to the city with him, pretty much immediately finds her old partner. And then he's like, it's me or the dog. And she pretty quickly goes, all right, get out of here, dog.
It happened so fast.
Yeah. No, this is not a comedy. This is a tragedy. Like, these episodes are tragedies.
She didn't even try to fight for the dog. Didn't even like.
No.
It was like, I don't want the dog, and she was like, okay, fine, bye.
It's pretty quickly. She's like, them's the breaks, kid. She gives him back a brooch that he stole from the house before he left.
Oh, what was happening with the jewelry?
Well, he took all that. It ties into the end because he goes back to finds his family with the jewelry.
Yeah.
And they just scream at him for taking the jewelry.
They're putting lost dog signs up in the city while being like, I hate this dog. Why,
Yeah.
why are you even looking for it then?
Yeah, they're putting up these signs and being like, "Oh, I hope we never find this dumb dog."
They're just doing what they have to do
This
because
dog
it's
was
societally
so
correct.
stupid for running away. And then
How dare you be a neglected dog for this long and then try and leave with someone?
he comes back and they're just like, "You idiots!"
And then he's very happy to see them though,
Yeah, no,
as they're shitting on them.
he-
As they're shitting on him.
he lives for the abuse. It should be called Masochist Dog. That's what the show should be called.
Masochist dog. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like that has trouble getting onto prime time.
Not when you've got that team behind it.
Masochist dog.
And like at that time, Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton could have got any show on TV.
And they chose this.
They could have got Masochist Dog on.
That's why I feel like going back to it, like they probably didn't do much. They probably just like sometimes executive producers are just like, yeah,
I think Spielberg didn't do much, but I think Burton was involved. Like, it's his style. It's Elfman. He's got to be the one that made it that dark. I should have watched Brad Bird's original short. I'm curious what that is like.
it must have been good enough to get the green light.
Based on what I know about Brad Bird, it can't be like this.
I mean, it's probably somewhat like this, but the thing is, there is a good show in here somewhere. Not maybe.
Just about a cartoon about a dog,
Like
basically.
Well, no, but it's the thing of there's like, yeah, it's a dog cartoon still, but like Brad Bird, you can do a lot more of the like. You can ride that line better because this one just like bowls over every step of it, and you can do kind of an like a edgy dog comedy thing.
He's never been a guy that made edgy stuff.
No, that's true. Well, I will say the action scenes in the episodes are fun and like well animated, and you can
Yeah.
see where that style starts to come in. You can feel a little bit of, like the early Ratatouille kind of like people picking up that stuff from working with Brad Bird on the thing and then making it a show.
But yeah, it is possible that maybe the short is edgier. Because there's the story of the Iron Giant, where he pitched the Iron Giant because his sister had been murdered, and it got him like thinking like, what if a gun didn't want to be a gun? And it like got him like real, introspective and all that. Maybe he was like an edgelord until he experienced trauma in his own life.
This is Brad Bird made edgy dog stuff. And
It's possible.
Let's get him on the line.
Call Brad Bird.
Okay, Joe, what was your take on this whole homeless episode? Like, just like the New York.
It was harder for me to follow than the water thing. Like the water one was like, all right, there's a clear goal here. This one was all over the place for me.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a goal. It's to get food. It's the same to get food, but this is way weirder to try and get it.
Yeah, like if you weren't paying attention to the episode, you'd be like, what's going on right now?
That would be if you weren't paying attention to most things.
No, the water episode you would. He's still looking for water.
I guess it was harder to pay attention during this episode because there's that giant lull in the middle of him just bringing her food.
And then she does monologue. She like says like all the different shows she's been on,
Yeah.
and it's like 6 or 7.
It's like the I Think You Should Leave sketch with Tim Heidecker where he just starts naming all those obscure celebrities.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah.
So, question: did you guys watch all the episodes to find which ones I should watch?
No,
No.
we go on IMDb and look what the highest rated
Okay.
is.
Okay. Good. Thank God.
No, you didn't make us watch all of.
Great.
Family
There are
Dog.
some series we have watched every episode for. I would not have, under any circumstances, have done that for Family Dog.
How does this, out of all the episodes you have so far of this podcast, how does this rank?
TV show wise.
It's
Yeah.
not the worst. Okay, the worst I've seen so far, actually. Turns out we are not even doing this episode. I guess it was pitched to someone and they said no, but I ended up watching Ren and Stimpy's adult party cartoon, and that's my least favorite.
Oh, the
thing.
one that was on like Spike TV.
Spike TV.
I remember watching that and be like, this isn't Ren and Stimpy. They're like taking big shits and you're like
Yeah.
seeing like the shit come
They're
out of their.
eating full boogers.
Okay. Oh my God.
It goes on for a while. It's better than that.
Okay, but
I can understand why someone might run an ad during Family Dog. I couldn't understand, like, you're gonna just run an ad for an energy drink in the middle of Ren and Stimpy living in a spittoon eating vomit. That doesn't make any sense to
That's
me.
what happens when you give the creator Ren and Stimpy full control.
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
It's when
I
you
can
take
do
the
whatever I want.
You took the governor off.
Yeah, but again, I watched that for no reason, so we're gonna have to do it someday because I watched it.
All I remember from that is remembering like a fireman taking a big shit. It was like the size of a can of soup.
Well, thankfully, I didn't watch that episode, but I'm not surprised that happens.
So yeah, Family Dog is better than that, but I think Family Dog is probably in the bottom 5 for me.
Yeah, because it's morally bad.
Yeah, it's just abusing a dog.
A kid could have watched this show, found it funny, and abused their dog in response.
Yeah, made a dog put on a bra, throw makeup all over its face. Yeah, no, easily.
I mean, they ended up using that dog though in the future for like some of the other Tim Burton projects. So maybe this was just
Frank
like
and
the
Weenie
yeah.
predates this. He made a short when he was in art school.
Oh, gotcha.
That Frank and Weenie is based on, but it does look a lot like the
Yeah.
dog from Frank and Weenie.
I was gonna say maybe this like was the first step towards something better, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, it was for literally a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah, no, everyone, in spite of this failure, went on to huge things.
The music was great.
Yeah, this came in '93. The only person whose career didn't keep going up after this was Tim Burton.
Yeah.
This is '93 would probably be, his peak. That's Ed Wood comes out. He's not doing anything better after Ed Wood. He's doing more successful things, but nothing
Yeah.
better.
No, that's where he gets established in that weird like.
He's already established.
But like then it's like Oscars and
No, never
No?
won any Oscars.
not even for Ed Wood. I thought Ed
No,
Wood.
like Ed Wood won an Oscar, but not for Tim Burton.
Oh, okay.
Martin Landau for supporting actor.
Right. Okay. Great. I'm glad we got there. So Family Dog. How would we improve it? What would we do with it?
Give Brad Bird full creative control. He'd probably make a good show.
Yeah, probably. But also, I think the thing was he looked at it and went, I don't want to do it.
He probably did that after he was told what their vision for it was.
That's possible too, for sure. Okay, so get Brad Bird on it. I honestly love the idea of taking the dog. The dog gets taken away by like, and then because then the family has to go. Wait, what were we doing that was creating this?
I mean, like The Simpsons always had like that tender, loving moment at the end. I think this, which I really usually hate those things. Like I love how Seinfeld doesn't have it, but those characters are like nice, lovable, even though they're terrible people. These are just terrible people the whole time, and it could have really benefited from at least 5 or 10 seconds of them being like, "Oh, we missed you. Come on, come in the car."
You would get it for about 5 seconds, but then they immediately abuse the dog.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, also, the difference is between Seinfeld doesn't need hugs because no one kicks a dog. No one is mean to a dog in Seinfeld.
I bet they pitched that episode, but even they realized we can't do that.
Not if we want people to hug.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, like, you could also just do a show where, or that's what The Simpsons does. The Simpsons literally has an episode where they have the dog dog doesn't win, and then they still love it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what you're missing. Because they're like, wow, not only are you a failure, but you're a dumb, bad failure, and we hate you for it.
Which was all Matt Groening, right?
Groening. Yeah.
He did all the heart stuff, all the good heart stuff at the end.
Was he?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have no idea.
He added the tenderness in at the end.
Hey, you know who's someone who's famously been able to inject a lot of heart into his work?
Steven
Brad Bird.
Spielberg. Or Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, but I think he was not really there at all. Which, understandable. He would have been making Jurassic Park and Schindler's List the year this came out.
At
He
the
was
same
busy.
time.
Yeah, he was busy. What a year for him. Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Family Dog.
Okay. Speaking of things you should watch instead of Family Dog, what would you recommend?
Schindler's List?
I mean, movie. It's a TV show.
Yeah. I mean, look, I haven't seen it, but I'd say probably go watch that Amazing Stories episode. I'm going to. I bet it's good.
Okay. Thank you for recommending something you haven't seen.
I bet it's probably good.
I'm going to recommend the show I'm Sorry, which has Martin Mull in it playing the dad. He plays he's like a retired dad who's like slowly getting into like swinging and like doing drugs. He's not the main character; he's a side character, but it's a really great show starring Andrea Savage. I'm Sorry. It's on Max now, formerly True TV. These trailers are insane. I'm gonna have to edit this out later, but this is just like weird muscle guys.
And these are what plays from Family Dogs. Oh no, I've seen this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it?
So those two twins are they're truck drivers, and I think the director of this, he went on to make I think John Turteltaub is the director of this.
Oh,
So you did like National Treasure. This was his first movie. I want to say it's called like Think Big or something.
And
I've
that's why
actually
they're
seen
ripped?
this movie.
that's weird.
Yeah, no, they barely. Yeah,
Oh,
Martin
Martin
Mull's
Mull's
in
in
it, so
it.
it's just plain Martin Mull stuff.
Got it.
It's a terrible movie.
Okay. And Joe, what show would you recommend?
There's a YouTube channel called The Engineering Guy. And he explains like how like a bunch of shit works. It's way better than Family Dog.
Oh my god, I love that. This is the first time a YouTube video has been the suggestion.
I didn't know that was an option.
I don't think it is. I think Joe just made up a new rule.
I've been obsessed with it lately.
What is he?
The best episode he's got is he explains why a aluminum soda can is shaped how it is and goes through the history of soda cans, and it's really, really interesting.
Soda
Honestly-
cans like the size of the poop from Ren and Stimpy you were talking about.
Oh, before we end this, I got to read one comment I screenshotted from the first episode of Family Dog.
Hell yes.
Man, we're lucky to grow up in the 80s. Feel bad for those who missed out. No school shootings, no social media.
Are they aware that this came out in 1993?
That's a slight oversight.
Also,
No.
wait, kids that grew up in the 80s did die in Columbine,
That was the 90s.
but those kids did grow up in the 80s.
Oh, to die in
Yeah.
Columbine. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not going to fact check that comment, but I do
I
like
am.
the sentiment.
I don't think there's anything to fact check. I think it's.
I think
all right
this
there.
show's worse than a school shooting.
You think Family Dog is? Hey,
That's how we're ending.
no. Well, how we're ending is asking our listeners to write in and say if they think it's worse than a school. Would they rather watch every episode or be stuck
Or would you
in
rather
a
have
horrible thing?
Okay.
Would you rather have Family Dog or social media? That's the other thing that's just as bad as a school shooting in this person's mind.
Anyway,
no,
guys, you
not
can follow us on Instagram at